Merrick Garland. He's no Justice Scalia, more like John Roberts. Merrick Garland. He's no Justice Scalia, more like John Roberts. Thank you for tuning in to Laurel at the Black Political Buzz Network. I'm going to focus on this vlog by talking about the recent U.S. Supreme Court nomination of Appellate Court Judge Merrick Brian Garland. Today is Wednesday, March 16, 2016, and on this day, less than 1 month after U.S. Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia was murdered, less than 1 month after U.S. Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia was murdered and buried quickly without an autopsy. I'm going to say it one more time. Without an autopsy, he was buried quickly after he was murdered. Less than 1 month later, President Barack Obama Jr. has nominated his replacement. The person that he's nominated to fulfill the seat of Justice Scalia is Appellate Court Judge Merrick Brian Garland. Appellate Court Judge Merrick Garland, was appointed as an appellate judge under Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton appointed Merrick Garland as an appellate judge in 1997. And Merrick Garland is a native of Chicago, Illinois. His alma mater is Harvard, so he's a graduate or an alumni of Harvard, which is also Barack Obama's alumni alma mater. And today, he was nominated by President Obama to fulfill or replace Justice Scalia. First of all, Justice Scalia cannot be replaced. I repeat, Justice Antonin Scalia cannot be replaced. He was a wonderful man. He was a conservative, a true conservative. He was a lover of the United States Constitution. He was a scholar of the U.S. Constitution as well. He believed in godly principles that this nation was founded upon. He believed strongly in the law. He believed strongly that U.S. Supreme Court justices were not there to rewrite the law, but they were there to enforce the principles and the articles and amendments within the U.S. Constitution. And Justice Scalia was also very fair. Even though a lot of his opinions appeared to be harsh, even though a lot of Justice Scalia's opinions appeared to be very harsh, the man was very fair in his rulings. He just came off as being harsh, but he really wasn't. He was very fair. And Justice Scalia was a Republican. Merrick Garland is more of a liberal. I told you all he's more of a liberal. I mean that Obama was not going to put anyone, nominate anyone that's a Republican, that's like far right. Come on. Justice Scalia, Antonin Scalia was a far right justice. He was more to the far right. John Roberts, Chief Justice John Roberts, who was appointed under George W. Bush, he's more of a moderate. Chief Justice John Roberts is a Republican, but he's more of a moderate. Justice Scalia was a far-right Republican. Merrick Garland is a liberal. He may not be a far left-wing liberal. Merrick Garland may not be a far left-wing liberal, but he is a liberal nonetheless. And you see, as this presidential race winds down, as it narrows, we already know who's going to be the last two standing. Donald J. Trump and Hillary Rodham Clinton. I repeat, we already know who's going to be the last two standing and who will be debating one another and, campaigning against one another for president after all the smoke screens clear. It'll be Donald J. Trump, and Hillary Rodham Clinton. Trump for the GOP, Hillary for the Democrats. We know that already. And with Justice Scalia being dead now, you know, who was murdered, this is going to be a very close race. And this race will probably, more than likely, end up in the hands of the U.S. Supreme Court, just as the 2000 presidential race was between George W. Bush and Al Gore. And Justice Scalia, you know, made the final decision. His opinion was contributed to, you know, the final decision that George Bush should be the president. Even though Justice Scalia was interviewed about that decision, and he said even if the case never went to the Supreme Court, Al Gore still would have lost because he didn't have the electoral votes. Justice Scalia said that even if that case never ended up in his hands, Al Gore would have still lost that race in 2000 because he said that the Al Gore did not have the electoral votes to be president. But this race between Hillary and Donald J. Trump is going to be close as well. It's also going to be a very close race. Do you think Obama's going to put someone in the U.S. Supreme Court that's going to rule on the side of the GOP? Heck no. Merrick Garland, Appellate Court Justice or Judge Merrick Garland, and by the way, Merrick Garland is an Appellate Court judge out of the District of Columbia, out of Washington, D.C. So he oversees the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C. Do you think Obama's going to put a judge to replace Scalia that's going to rule on the side of the GOP in the event there's a Bush versus Gore type ruling situation? No. Merrick Garland is going to rule on the side of Obama, or excuse me, on the side of the Democrats, Hillary. So you all better start praying more, speaking out more. Keep going to the polls. Keep going to the polls. Start calling your senators. Keep praying. If you believe in prayer, you better pray for this country. Now, will the GOP control U.S. Senate? Will they confirm Merrick Garland? I doubt it. This is a presidential year. We're currently in a presidential election year. And even when Joe Biden was in the Senate, Joe Biden told his colleagues that that they should not vote on a U.S. Supreme Court justice during an election year for president. That's what Joe Biden said. But now all of a sudden now the Democrats have amnesia. The Democrats have amnesia, just like they have amnesia about Obama when he ran for president. President Obama was not a kiss behind, easygoing candidate. He may have delivered speeches with a smile. Barack Obama may have delivered speeches with a smile on his face, but those words were vicious. He just said them with a smile on his face. Yeah, Barack Obama was not an easy candidate, honey. He was like nails. He was tough as nails. Barack Obama was a tough as nails candidate. All of y'all out here who are bashing Donald Trump, you didn't bash Barack Obama. That's hypocritical, mainstream media. So the GOP-controlled Senate, they more than likely won't confirm Merrick Garland. But if they do, and this race ends up in the hands of the U.S. Supreme Court, we know what's going to happen. As it stands right now, we have 8 justices right now, because the U.S. Supreme Court is supposed to have 9 justices. With Antonin Scalia being murdered, there's 8. So if there is a Bush versus Gore type, situation with this presidential election between Donald Trump and Hillary, and the case ends up in the hands of the U.S. Supreme Court, it's going to be a tie. It's going to be a tie, and it may be a drawn-out battle, a drawn-out court battle before we learn who our president is, which means Barack Obama remains president. So if there is a tie between Hillary Clinton and Donald J. Trump, and the U.S. Supreme Court cannot come to a conclusion about the results, Barack Obama may just remain president for a third term. That may be what his plan is all the while. That's all I want to say. You all better read between the lines and see what's going on here. Merrick Garland. He's no Justice Scalia, more like John Roberts. Thank you for tuning in to the Black Political Buzz Network, and my name is Laurel. Goodbye.